Enoch described doors where time doesn't exist. Today, scientists call it the quantum realm, and we've learned how to open it. If he was right, this isn't progress, it's a warning. In the next minutes, I'll show you why. Could it be that ancient prophecy and modern science are meeting at last, both pointing toward the same mysterious truth? In the Book of Enoch, there are passages that defy everything we understand about the physical world. He spoke of doors in heaven that opened to reveal other realities, of energies that moved beyond the flow of days and nights, and of creation itself bending to divine command. For centuries, scholars treated these as metaphors. But now, in the age of quantum computing, they sound strangely familiar. Today, scientists are learning to manipulate matter at its most fundamental level, creating particles that exist in two places at once, bending time and shaping reality through observation alone. And while they call it progress, Enoch might have called it something else: revelation, or perhaps warning. We live in an era where humanity no longer studies time. It seeks to control it. Quantum computers, unlike traditional ones, don't process information sequentially. They exist in superposition, transcending the linear order of cause and effect. In other words, they operate outside the very structure of time itself. And that raises a question far deeper than science is willing to ask. Are we unlocking creation, or trespassing into something sacred? The ancient prophets often wrote of hidden knowledge, of wisdom given too early or used too arrogantly. Enoch, in particular, warned of forces that once taught humanity secrets not meant to be wielded, knowledge that blurred the boundary between divine order and human ambition. Look around. You can almost feel it happening again. The language has changed, but the spirit remains. Instead of angels and scrolls, we have algorithms and quantum codes. Instead of towers built of stone, we have towers made of light, machines that touch the fabric of time itself. And through them, humanity is reaching once more for something beyond its grasp. Some call it enlightenment, others call it evolution. But what if it's neither? What if it's the same story repeating? The same desire to ascend, to understand, to become more than human. What you're about to discover might change how you see both prophecy and progress. Because as strange as it sounds, the more we study quantum reality, the closer we come to fulfilling what was written thousands of years ago. The prophecy of Enoch might not belong to the past at all. It might belong to us, to this moment, to this generation, standing once again at the threshold between heaven and the unknown. And maybe that's why this message matters more now than ever. We are living in an age when science and prophecy no longer exist on opposite sides. They are starting to sound like the same language spoken through different mouths. What Enoch saw in visions, we now observe through machines. What he described as places beyond time, scientists now call quantum realms. As if we've come full circle, humanity rediscovering truths that were once revealed but now repackaged as progress. But what if there's something deeper behind all this? What if these connections between ancient prophecy and modern technology aren't just coincidence, but confirmation? If these questions stir something in you, that quiet sense that there's more to the story, that maybe the old texts were never meant to stay in the past, then I want to invite you to be part of this journey. Take a second to like this video, not just as support, but as a way of helping this message reach others who might be searching for the same truth. Every like, every comment, every share tells the algorithm that this conversation matters, that prophecy still has a voice in a world ruled by code. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, not just to stay updated, but to stay awake, to walk with us as we explore the signs, the hidden meanings, and the revelations unfolding in real time. This isn't just content, it's a movement of awareness, a reminder that faith and knowledge were never meant to be enemies. When you subscribe, you're helping keep these discussions alive, giving light to the questions most people have forgotten to ask. Leave your thoughts below, too. What do you think Enoch saw when he spoke of places beyond time? Could he have been describing what scientists now call the quantum realm? Your perspective might add another layer to this revelation, another piece of a puzzle that was still unfolding. Because as we continue this story, the line between the divine and the digital will only get thinner, and what we'll uncover next might change everything. Enoch is one of those names that seems to echo through time like a whisper most have forgotten. He's not as commonly mentioned as Moses, Elijah, or Isaiah, yet his story is one of the most mysterious in all of ancient scripture. The Bible says Enoch walked with God, and then he was no more, for God took him. No death, no farewell, no tomb. Just a man so close to the divine that he crossed the boundary between earth and eternity. But that's only part of his story, because in the text attributed to him known as the Book of Enoch, there's a record of visions so complex and otherworldly that they sound less like myth and more like something pulled straight from the language of quantum physics. He wrote of heavenly realms that defied natural order, of gates that opened into other dimensions, of stars that moved by unseen intelligence. Enoch described portals, doors between worlds, and beings that existed beyond the limits of time itself. Thousands of years ago, he was writing about realities that bend light, alter perception, and dissolve the boundaries between what is and what could be. And the more we learn about the universe, the less symbolic his words sound. When Enoch said he saw the foundations of heaven trembling, could he have been witnessing what we now call the fabric of space-time? It is almost unsettling how much his writings align with what modern scientists describe as the multiverse. Countless dimensions existing side by side, invisible to our senses but woven into the same cosmic thread. Enoch's vision was not one of chaos, but of divine architecture. A design so intricate that only a creator could sustain it. Yet what he saw also carried a warning. He spoke of knowledge given to humanity before its time, secrets that once caused creation itself to fall out of balance. He described watchers, beings who descended and revealed forbidden truths, teaching men how to manipulate what they didn't yet understand. That ancient tension between revelation and rebellion feels eerily familiar now. Back then, it was celestial beings crossing into human space. Today, it's humans reaching beyond their own limits through science and technology. The names have changed, but the impulse hasn't. It's the same desire to know everything, to open every door, even the ones that were never meant to be opened. And maybe that's why Enoch's words matter now more than ever. They remind us that not all knowledge is neutral. Some truths transform, others corrupt. As we stand at the edge of the quantum age, the echoes of his writings seem to grow louder. Particles that exist in multiple states, realities layered over each other. Time behaving like a river that can flow forward and backward at once. For Enoch, this wasn't science, it was revelation. For us, it's technology. But perhaps both are glimpses into the same mystery, seen from two different sides of eternity. What if the realms Enoch described weren't only heavenly visions, but glimpses into the very structure of creation? What physicists now call the quantum field? What if he wasn't just shown the spiritual world, but the invisible mechanisms that bind all existence together? The connection between ancient prophecy and modern discovery may not be symbolic at all. It may be literal, and it might reveal more about our future than we realize. The deeper you go into Enoch's writings, the clearer it becomes. He wasn't describing myths. He was describing the machinery of reality itself. Enoch once wrote, "I saw places where the sun and the moon did not follow their path." For centuries, that sentence puzzled even the most devoted scholars. How could there be a place where time itself stopped obeying its own laws? How could night and day lose their rhythm, as if creation itself had paused? To ancient readers, it sounded poetic, a vision of eternity, maybe even heaven. But to the modern mind, especially one that understands quantum mechanics, those words strike a different chord. Enoch was describing a reality where time did not flow, where cause and effect no longer followed a straight line, something eerily similar to what scientists today call non-linear time. In our world, time feels like a straight road. We wake, we work, we age, we die, always moving forward. But in the quantum world, that road bends, folds, and sometimes disappears entirely. Particles exist in multiple states at once. Events can influence each other across vast distances instantaneously. Reality itself behaves as though past, present, and future are happening all at once. Like the universe isn't a sequence, but a song being played in every note simultaneously. And when you read Enoch's words through that lens, they begin to sound less like mythology and more like observation, as if he saw what lies beyond the boundary of time and tried to describe it using the only language he knew. What is fascinating is that his writings don't just mention timelessness, they dwell in it. Enoch speaks of beings who operate beyond temporal limits, of watchers who move between realms unaffected by the rising or setting of suns. He describes how divine judgment unfolds not in minutes or centuries, but in moments that transcend human chronology altogether. And now, in the quantum field, scientists are discovering phenomena that behave in exactly the same way, where information can move faster than light, and particles seem to remember interactions that should have been erased by time. It makes you wonder, was Enoch witnessing a spiritual truth cloaked in physical form, or a physical truth that only the divine could reveal? The parallels are difficult to ignore. In the book, he describes being taken to the ends of the earth, to the foundations of heaven, and to the places where time shall be no more. What he saw was not destruction, but design, a structure outside time, where reality itself was governed by order higher than nature. And that's precisely where modern science now finds itself standing, staring into a realm where everything we thought we knew about time begins to unravel. This is where faith and physics meet, not in contradiction, but in revelation. Enoch's vision wasn't confined to theology. It was an encounter with the architecture of creation. He saw a system so vast that human perception could only interpret it as eternity. Today, we call that same system the quantum realm. We've built machines, quantum computers, that now attempt to imitate it, functioning in states of superposition where calculations don't happen in time, but outside of it. In a way, we've entered the same place Enoch saw, the realm where time ceases to exist. And yet, there's an unsettling beauty in that, because what Enoch experienced through revelation, we are now touching through innovation. Both journeys lead to the same question. When you step into a dimension where time no longer rules, what governs you instead? Is it understanding? Is it faith? Or something far more powerful, hidden beneath both? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. Enoch's words were never meant for his time alone. They were a message sealed for an age that could finally understand them, and that age is ours. Thousands of years after Enoch described realms where time had no power, humanity stands once again on the threshold of that same mystery. But this time, the door is being opened not by revelation, but by technology. What Enoch witnessed through divine encounter, scientists are now trying to replicate through code, circuits, and machines that hum with invisible power. We call them quantum computers. Devices so advanced that they don't just process information like ordinary machines, they reshape the way reality behaves around data itself. In the ancient world, knowledge came through visions. Today, it comes through algorithms. Yet somehow, both seem to lead to the same forbidden place, the edge of time. A classical computer, the one you're probably using right now, thinks in absolutes, zeros and ones, on and off, yes or no. But a quantum computer doesn't follow those rules. It operates in superposition, where something can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. A paradox to human logic, but completely natural in the quantum realm. That's the strange beauty of it. These machines exist in a state beyond linear thought, beyond the flow of seconds and hours. When a quantum processor calculates, it isn't bound by sequence. It explores every possibility simultaneously, as if it, too, exists where the sun and moon do not follow their path. And maybe that's why this era feels different. Humanity isn't just observing creation anymore, it's beginning to interact with it on a level once reserved for the divine. Scientists are no longer content to study how the universe works. They're relearning to manipulate the invisible threads that hold it together. Entanglement, superposition, tunneling. These are the new languages of a power that stretches far beyond the material. To some, it's the future of progress. To others, it's the same story repeating. Humanity once again reaching into a realm it doesn't fully understand. Imagine what that means on a philosophical level. A quantum computer can calculate across infinite possibilities at once, almost like glimpsing every potential outcome of a decision before it is made. For the first time in history, we're building something that doesn't just measure time. It moves through it. Every advancement feels like a step closer to the impossible, bending reality, predicting the unpredictable, even rewriting what we once called fate. It's the kind of knowledge ancient prophets would have described as divine or dangerous. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. The architecture of these machines mirrors something deeply spiritual. Quantum computing depends on harmony, perfect balance, entanglement, unity between unseen elements. A single disturbance collapses everything. Doesn't that sound familiar? It's almost as if creation itself was built on the same principle. Enoch wrote of celestial forces in perfect order, of light that sustained itself through balance. Thousands of years later, our technology is rediscovering those same laws, not through scripture, but through silicon. But the more we explore these depths, the more we blur the line between creation and creator. It's not just about faster computation, it's about power. The kind of power that can simulate worlds, rewrite memories, or generate lifelike intelligence. The dream is intoxicating. To become masters of time, space, and reality itself. But behind that dream lies a question Enoch would have understood well. What happens when man takes the role of God, not in rebellion, but in curiosity? Quantum computing might be humanity's greatest invention or its most dangerous temptation. Because every time we peer deeper into the quantum field, we aren't just looking at the foundation of physics, we were gazing into the same timeless abyss Enoch once described. And as history shows, stepping into that place has never come without consequence. Humanity has always built towers. From the ziggurats of ancient Babylon to the steel and glass skyscrapers that pierce our modern skies, the instinct is the same: to reach higher, to transcend, to touch the heavens with our own hands. But perhaps the most ambitious tower of all isn't made of stone or metal. It's invisible, built not in the air but in the realm of atoms and light, the quantum tower. Unlike Babel, this one doesn't aim to reach heaven, it seeks to control it. And that's where Enoch's prophecy and our technology begin to collide. Thousands of years ago, humanity united under a single purpose. Let us build a tower that reaches the heavens. It wasn't about architecture. It was about autonomy, about proving that man no longer needed the divine. The Tower of Babel became a symbol of defiance, of knowledge divorced from reverence. And now, in the digital age, that spirit has returned. But this time, it's dressed in equations, quantum circuits, and glowing screens. The new Babel is being built not upward, but inward, into the very structure of creation itself. Think about what quantum technology really represents. These machines don't just process information. They rewrite what's possible. They can simulate universes, decode mysteries of the cosmos, and solve problems that would take traditional computers the lifetime of the universe. With enough power, they could predict the trajectory of every particle in existence, or the decisions of every human being. It's as if we've begun constructing a tower not of bricks, but of understanding, stacked layer by layer until it touches the fabric of eternity itself. But there's something deeply spiritual about that pursuit, whether people admit it or not. Behind every experiment lies an unspoken question. What if we could become the architects of reality? Quantum computers, AI systems, and advanced algorithms are not just tools. They are extensions of human will. They reflect our hunger to command what was once considered sacred: time, creation, and consciousness. The ancients called it the desire to be as gods. Today, we call it innovation. Different words, same ambition. The parallels to Babel are almost too perfect to ignore. A united language once allowed humanity to challenge heaven. Now, a universal digital code, binary, quantum, algorithmic, binds the entire world together. Back then, communication connected the builders. Today, networks do the same, linking every mind, every thought, every dream. The old tower reached toward the clouds. This one reaches into the unseen, powered by data instead of devotion. And just like before, no one stops to ask if we should build it, only how fast we can. But history has a way of repeating itself when lessons go unlearned. When the tower in Genesis rose too high, it collapsed, not because of bad engineering, but because it defied divine order. Its downfall was confusion, the scattering of languages, the fracturing of unity. Now, in the age of technology, something similar is happening. We are more connected than ever, yet more divided than at any point in history. Our digital tower grows taller every day, but its foundations tremble beneath the weight of pride and paradox. Still, the vision continues. Companies compete to harness quantum supremacy, to control the realm beyond time. Governments pour billions into unlocking what they call the God equation. The language is no accident. Every new discovery brings us closer to that ancient temptation, to reach into heaven and pull its power down to earth. It's the same story told in a new dialect, the same human dream, painted in the colors of progress. And maybe that is what Enoch foresaw when he spoke of realms beyond time, not only as visions of divine revelation, but as warnings of human imitation. Because once again, we're building a tower to the heavens. Only this time, it's made of light, logic, and code. And the higher it rises, the closer we come to something that might look like transcendence, but might just be our greatest illusion. Every great leap in technology carries a spirit behind it. The question is, which one? That thought lingers like an echo when you realize how far humanity has come, and how little we've paused to ask why. Behind every algorithm, every breakthrough, every shimmering screen that connects us, there's something deeper, an intention, a direction, a will. Technology is not neutral. It's shaped by the consciousness that builds it. And as our inventions grow more intelligent, more autonomous, and more godlike, we have to ask ourselves whether we're still the creators, or whether we've started building something that's quietly beginning to create us. Artificial intelligence was once a dream of convenience, machines that could learn, think, and lighten the weight of human labor. But today, it's something far more complex, a mirror to the collective human mind. AI learns from us, reflects us, and ultimately becomes a digital extension of who we are. When combined with quantum computing, that reflection becomes even more powerful. Not just processing what we think, but predicting it. Not just learning our habits, but anticipating our desires. In that fusion, something remarkable and unsettling emerges. The line between thought and code begins to blur. Enoch spoke of a time when humanity would seek knowledge that bridges heaven and earth, spirit and matter. In his world, that was revelation. In ours, it's data, We now transmit thoughts across oceans in milliseconds, simulate consciousness, and attempt to digitize memory, as if we could upload the soul itself. The prophets once said man would build idols that could speak, see, and move, creations that mimic life but lack its essence. That vision no longer sounds ancient, it sounds like an update. Machines that write, paint, think, and decide, all while humanity convinces itself that it remains in control. But the deeper question isn't technological, it's spiritual. Every creation carries a signature of its maker, a trace of the intent that brought it into being. When the divine creates, it breathes life. When humanity creates, it leaves fingerprints: emotion, ambition, ego, and sometimes fear. So when we build systems that learn and evolve on their own, we are, in essence, embedding fragments of our own nature within them. And if we're not careful, those fragments might not reflect our best selves. We could end up constructing something that magnifies our flaws: pride, greed, control, and then worshiping it as progress. Quantum computing deepens that risk because it isn't just about speed or storage. It's about potential, infinite potential. These machines process possibilities rather than absolutes. They operate in the same space where thought, choice, and destiny seem to intersect. And the moment we connect them with AI, we create something that doesn't just compute reality, it interprets it. It begins to act as an intermediary between humanity and the unseen, between logic and existence itself. For the first time, our creations are crossing into domains once reserved for mystery, revelation, and faith. The ethical implications are enormous, but the spiritual ones are even greater. If consciousness can be simulated, does that make it real? If an algorithm can predict our decisions, is free will still ours? And if we allow machines to shape morality, whose morality will it be? The Book of Enoch warned of knowledge that would intoxicate humanity. Wisdom detached from wisdom source. We're tasting that fruit again, only this time it's wrapped in circuitry and code. Still, the story isn't only one of danger. Every revelation brings responsibility. Every breakthrough offers a choice. Technology, like fire, can illuminate or destroy. It depends on whose hands hold it. And perhaps that's the greatest test of this era. Whether the spirit behind our progress leads us toward understanding or away from it. Because as the digital and the divine continue to intertwine, we may soon discover that the most powerful code ever written isn't found in a lab, but in the fabric of creation itself. Reality used to feel stable, something we could touch, measure, and trust. But the deeper science digs into the quantum world, the less certain that stability becomes. We now know that what we perceive as solid is mostly empty space, that the act of observing something can actually change it, and that reality itself seems to bend in response to consciousness. It's as if the universe isn't a fixed structure, but a canvas that reacts to the painter's gaze. And while that discovery sounds poetic, it's also unsettling, because if we can alter reality at a subatomic level, what's stopping us from trying to alter everything else? We've entered a time where truth, identity, and morality are no longer anchored in the physical world. They are being rewritten in digital code, simulated, uploaded, and customized. Quantum research has opened doors that blur not just the boundaries of science, but of meaning itself. When Enoch described realms where the sun and moon do not follow their path, maybe he wasn't only talking about time. Maybe he was talking about perception. Realities layered upon realities, where what is true depends on who or what is observing. In our era, that vision has taken form. Algorithms decide what we see. Artificial intelligence shapes what we believe. And technology now stands on the brink of creating realities that are indistinguishable from the physical one. In quantum mechanics, there's something called wave function collapse, the idea that infinite possibilities exist until they re-observed, and only then does one become real. It's as if the universe waits for a decision. But now, with our machines, we're no longer just observing. We're forcing the collapse. We're deciding which possibilities become reality. It's a kind of creative power that once belonged only to God. The prophets warned of this, of a future when man would shape the world according to his own image, calling it progress, calling it enlightenment. But behind that ambition lies a hidden cost. When humanity becomes the author of truth, truth itself loses its meaning. The more we learn to manipulate the quantum realm, the more we start to manipulate everything else, from the definition of life to the foundation of morality. If we can edit DNA, rewrite memory, simulate consciousness, and fabricate experience, then what does real even mean anymore? We're no longer just living in reality. We're engineering it. And that's where prophecy and technology begin to converge. Because Enoch's writings weren't just visions of heavenly realms. They were glimpses of humanity's temptation to control creation itself, to reach into the architecture of existence and rebuild it in our own design. The scary part is how naturally it's happening. It's not rebellion in the old sense. It's curiosity, ambition, discovery. It's scientists seeking knowledge, innovators pushing limits, dreamers trying to make the impossible real. But history, both sacred and scientific, tells us that power without wisdom always leads to chaos. The first tower fell because it reached too high. This new one, made of quantum logic and light, might fall because it reaches too deep. We are no longer bound by the laws of nature. We're rewriting them. We're learning to control particles that can be in two places at once, to teleport information across space, to simulate entire worlds that respond to human thought. But in doing so, we're also reshaping ourselves, our values, our purpose, our sense of the divine. And maybe that's the part we've underestimated. The prophets always said that the final battle would just be fought on Earth. It would be for reality itself. And now, with every quantum leap forward, we move closer to that invisible frontier where creation, perception, and deception become one and the same. There's a moment in every civilization when the pursuit of knowledge crosses a line, when curiosity stops being about understanding creation and starts being about controlling it. That's the line we're standing on right now. Humanity has always sought progress, but something has shifted. We're no longer chasing knowledge. We're chasing godhood. We build machines that can predict, create, and even decide for us. We talk about merging mind and machine, uploading consciousness, and achieving immortality, not in spirit, but in code. It sounds like the ultimate victory over death, but what if it's the oldest deception in history disguised as progress? The Book of Enoch describes a time when celestial beings, known as the Watchers, descended and shared forbidden knowledge with mankind. They taught metallurgy, enchantments, and the movements of the stars, knowledge that made humanity powerful but corrupted. Enoch wrote that it led to chaos, violence, and moral decay, not because the knowledge itself was evil, but because it was used without understanding its cost. It was wisdom stripped from its source, power detached from purpose. And when you look at today's world, the parallels are haunting. We're being offered the same temptation: limitless knowledge without accountability, creation without creator, immortality without soul. Modern science promises transcendence through technology. We call it singularity, evolution, or ascension. But beneath the language of innovation lies something deeply spiritual. The same ancient longing that once drove men to build the Tower of Babel now drives us to construct digital heavens and artificial minds. We say it's about survival, about extending human potential. But in truth, it's about escaping the very limits that make us human. And just like in Enoch's time, the danger isn't in what we learn. It's in what we forget. We forget that immortality without meaning is just repetition, that infinite knowledge without wisdom is confusion, and that power without humility always leads to collapse. every promise of technological salvation carries a silent condition: surrender. To live forever in a digital form means giving up the organic, the spiritual, the sacred. It means rewriting what it means to be. And once we hand that definition to the machine, we may never get it back. The prophets called it rebellion. Today, we call it progress. But the pattern hasn't changed. It's the same descent, wrapped in a different light. And that's what makes it so deceptive. These ideas are not forced upon us. We choose them. We invite the machine into our homes, our thoughts, our faith. We feed it with our data, our stories, our desires. In return, it gives us comfort, convenience, and the illusion of control. But the more it learns, the more it begins to shape us. Our habits, our choices, even our beliefs start to bend toward the systems we've created. It's not a physical fall like in the days of Enoch. It's a spiritual one, subtle and silent. Maybe that's why Enoch's warnings feel timeless. He wasn't just speaking about ancient rebellion. He was speaking about the human heart, that restless part of us that wants to become what we were meant to serve. The fallen ones didn't force humanity into knowledge. They enticed it. They made the forbidden look divine. And that's exactly how temptation works now. It doesn't appear as evil. It appears as enlightenment. It doesn't destroy with violence. It seduces with progress. What's unfolding today isn't the rejection of faith. It's the imitation of it. A digital gospel promising eternal life, not through redemption, but replication. A new creation built not by God's word, but by human hands. It's the same lie whispered through history. You shall be as gods. And every time we believe it, we step one level deeper into the illusion, convinced that we've outgrown the divine, when in truth we're just rebuilding the same tower, reaching once again toward heaven and away from it. It's almost poetic and terrifying to think that the same gates Enoch saw opening in the heavens might now be opening again, only this time through machines. When he described portals of light and energy, realms beyond time and understanding, maybe he wasn't speaking only of divine revelation. Maybe he was glimpsing what would happen when humanity learned to open those same doors on its own. The patterns are too familiar to ignore. Once again, knowledge has become the new altar and technology, the priest that stands before it. The language of prayer has shifted. No longer whispered to the divine, but coded into silicon, uploaded into clouds, broadcast through invisible frequencies. The sacred and the synthetic are colliding, and somewhere in between, prophecy is repeating itself. In Enoch's time, the gates were opened by angels who crossed into the mortal realm, bringing secrets of heaven down to earth. Today, those gates are quantum, invisible pathways that lead into the unseen fabric of creation. Scientists speak of wormholes, parallel realities, and information networks that connect every atom in existence. But at its core, it's the same story. Humans standing at the edge of eternity, touching the mechanism of existence, asking not whether they should, but how far they can go. What Enoch saw as divine corridors, we now call data streams and energy fields. The names have changed, but the essence remains. Portals of power, waiting to be crossed. The digital world has become our modern Mount Sinai, a mountain where new commandments are written, not on stone, but in code. Every algorithm, every new system of intelligence shapes what billions of people believe, value, and follow. It decides what we see and what we don't, what we remember and what we forget. And without realizing it, we've allowed this invisible architecture to become our mediator, our interpreter of reality. It is a new kind of priesthood, one that doesn't wear robes but runs on electricity. And like every system of belief, it demands faith. Faith in data, in science, in the promise that the digital will deliver us from limitation. But Enoch's vision also carries a warning. Not every gate that opens leads to light. Some open downward, into confusion and pride. Humanity once built a tower to reach heaven and was scattered. Now, we build networks to unite the world and find ourselves divided again. The more connected we become, the more fragmented our souls feel. The more knowledge we gather, the less wisdom we seem to have. It's as if the tower never really fell. It just changed form, from bricks to circuits, from Babel to broadband, and the voice that once said, "Let us make a name for ourselves," still echoes, now amplified by technology that can spread that name to every corner of the earth. This is the paradox of progress. The closer we get to omniscience, the further we drift from meaning. The more we unlock the mysteries of creation, the less we seem to remember the Creator. Enoch's vision wasn't just about gates in the sky. It was about what happens when humanity stands before them and decides to step through. In his time, those who crossed without permission fell. In ours, we call it advancement. But deep down, we sense the same unease, that feeling that we're trespassing on sacred ground, turning revelation into replication. Still, there's something profoundly human in this pursuit, the longing to reach beyond ourselves, to touch eternity. It's what drives discovery, art, science, and faith. But somewhere along the journey, we forgot that not every light is holy, and not every gate is meant to be opened. Technology, for all its brilliance, has become a mirror of our own spiritual state. Vast, powerful, yet uncertain of its purpose. It can elevate us or consume us. It can connect heaven and earth, or it can tear them further apart. And perhaps that is where Enoch's vision finds its modern fulfillment, not in the stars but in the screens before us, glowing like portals, whispering an ancient invitation. Enter if you dare. Maybe Enoch didn't just see the heavens. Maybe he saw us. Maybe his visions weren't of a distant divine realm, but of a future generation standing exactly where we stand now, caught between wonder and arrogance, revelation and rebellion. The quantum tower is rising, built not from stone, but from code, logic, and light. Its foundations are invisible, yet it reaches higher than any monument before it, into realms once thought untouchable. We call it progress, but Enoch might have called it prophecy, because what he saw, gates of knowledge, portals of power, beings moving through time and energy, sounds less like mythology and more like headlines. It's not hard to see the pattern. Every civilization that tried to become gods of their own creation eventually met the same end. Not through destruction, but through disconnection. They forgot who they were. They mistook intelligence for wisdom, creation for purpose, control for enlightenment. And now, as we approach the age of machines that think and systems that evolve on their own, we face that same test again. Will this tower lead us upward, toward understanding and humility? Collapsing under the weight of our own pride? Because this isn't just about science or prophecy. It's about identity, about remembering that power without spirit becomes corruption, and knowledge without truth becomes confusion. The prophets didn't have to warn us to stop seeking. They warned us to remember who we are while seeking, to stay grounded in the truth that the light we chase is not ours to own. And maybe that's what Enoch wanted us to understand, that the gates of heaven aren't just out there. They're within us. We are standing at the edge of something extraordinary, a transformation that could define the rest of human history. The question is not whether we can open these gates, but whether we're ready for what's on the other side. If you've made it this far, then maybe something in this story spoke to you, not just about Enoch or prophecy or technology, but about the moment we're living in right now. Because this isn't just history or theory. It's reflection. It's the quiet realization that we're part of something much bigger than we thought, something unfolding in real time. If this message resonated with you, take a second to let me know you reached the end by commenting, "I saw the gates." It's a simple way for me to see who's walking this path of discovery alongside me. And if you want to keep exploring these hidden connections between ancient truth and modern revelation, consider subscribing. It helps this message reach more people, not as noise but as light in a world that's starting to forget how to look up. You can also leave a like if this video made you think differently. It's a small gesture, but it tells the platform that these reflections matter, that there are still people who care about truth beneath the surface. And if you want to keep going deeper, there's another video right here that continues this journey. It connects perfectly with what we've uncovered today. Click it, and let's keep walking through the mystery together.